Hello, my sweet angel besties, welcome back. If you have watched almost any of my videos, you would know this room very well. This is my library room. I love it so much. However, I have been itching to rearrange my bookshelves. I'm keeping all of like the furniture itself in the same position. I just want to rearrange the books on the shelves. And I thought, why not bring you guys along with me, because I feel like this is such a satisfying process. It's going to become very messy before it becomes better, but I thought I'd bring you guys along with me because I love watching this stuff, so I thought you guys might as well. These bookshelves have been set up in this way for about 12 months now. I'm just itching to move things around and I guess just like play around a bit. Some things will remain very similar and then some things will be completely different. This bookshelf here is mostly Liam's books, so I don't think I'm really gonna touch this, but everything else, gone. I don't know why, but the mic's got super crackly, so I'm doing a voiceover takeover. I'm just showing you the room before I made any changes. One wall of this room is just like a mirrored wardrobe because it is technically a bedroom, so obviously can't really do anything with that. Then we just have the couch, which is also a fold-out bed because this is also our guest bedroom. So again, can't really do anything with that space, but then we have the other side of the room, and that's where all of the bookshelves are. These are all Billy bookshelves from Ikea. I obviously have just like the two different types, the wider ones and then the thinner ones. And in this clip, I was just explaining that eventually I do think I will get the shelf extensions to go on top of the shelves, but for now it's fine. And I could technically fit one more Billy bookcase on the side where my TBR cart is, but it would cover the light switch. So maybe I'll do that at some point, but for now I'm not planning to. Anyway, moving on to the actual bookshelves. On this side, we have all of my fantasy, sci-fi, dystopian kind of books. The top two shelves are kind of just like miscellaneous, honestly. And then we have my Cassandra Clare shelf, an SJM shelf, and then again, just various other books. Then in the corner, I just have a bunch of different books on display. Some are romance, most are fantasy. And then we move into the actual romance side. And again, there's not a lot of order to a lot of these shelves, but then we do have this shelf, which is a small town romance shelf. And then of course we have my Jessa Hastings shelf. Under that, we have my Emily Henry shelf, which also just has a bunch of other books on there as well. And then finally at the bottom we have Boys of Tommen, we have Addicted/Calloway, and then a few other books there as well. Then onto the second kind of like skinnier bookshelf. This is where I keep all of my mystery and thriller books. At the very top I have all of my adult thrillers, and then almost everything else is YA because that's just kind of my preference. And then I have a random Ali Hazelwood shelf. Don't know why, but it is what it is. And then at the very bottom we have a shelf that has actually a bunch of my favorite authors on it. So Hannah Bonham Young, Annabelle Monaghan, Ashley Poston, Abby Jimenez. Don't know why they're just shoved at the bottom there. They deserve a better spot, don't they? Then we have Liam's bookshelf, which is just all non-fiction. Some of the books are mine, but a lot of them are his. And then finally over this side we have classics, we have general fiction, we have historical fiction, literary fiction, and then I don't know. We have some random YA books, and then down the bottom we have Christian fiction. That's what we have going on, and I'm ready to take everything off and rearrange it and hopefully come up with something a little bit better. In terms of plans, I do actually want to keep it similar in the sense of like keeping genres together. I really like that. I think it makes sense to my brain, and I also do think I want to keep fantasy on the side that it's on and romance on the side that it's on, because again, it just makes sense to me. But I think I want to switch my mystery books with my fiction books because I've been getting more into fiction and I just want them to be, I don't know, a little bit more central. So we're going to try that out and see if I like it. Step 1 is complete. The bookshelves are empty aside from Liam's books, and we have a clean slate to work with. I'll show you what the space looks like this room and the hallway. This room is full of all of my fantasy books, and the hallway is full of all of my romance and just like honestly everything else. And it looks crazy. Maybe when we're done with this, I'll count how many books we have and see, because I feel like I haven't done that in a while. I still don't think I have 1,000. Like, I don't think I have enough to consider it a legitimate library, but that's okay with me. I think I'm gonna start off with fantasy. I don't know why. That just feels easier to me, and I'm definitely still going to have a Sarah J Maas shelf and a Cassandra Clare shelf, so I might just start with those because I just already know what I'm doing. I think I have pretty much finished the main fantasy shelf, and now I'm gonna move on to like the display kind of area. I'm so unsure whether I should do just fantasy books here or like a mix of both, because obviously we have fantasy and then we'll have romance. So do I do like both fantasy and romance like merging in the middle, or do I just keep it for fantasy? Because when we move over here, we'll have romance, but then this I want to be like literary fiction, historical fiction stuff. So do I wish I had more space? Yes, because then I could do fantasy, romance, fiction, mystery, thrillers, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have the space for all of that. Maybe half of this needs to be fantasy. I'm gonna play around with it and we're gonna just see what happens. I definitely want to do an Emily Wilde display and Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then I'm thinking like that literally leaves me not that much space. No, I think, okay, I'm just gonna play around with this and we're gonna see what happens. I'm getting frustrated because it's just not working out the way I want it to. Right now we have sci-fi up the very top, then we have Boys of Tommen, Magnolia Park special editions, then I have an Abby Jimenez shelf. I am missing Yours Truly at the moment because I've lent it out, and then also Once I've Read Say You'll Remember Me, that will also go on that shelf I guess, so it could be a bit more full, but I just don't love how it's looking right now. I love this shelf. We have Emily Wilde and Once Upon a Broken Heart. I think that looks so cute together. Then I have a Brando Sando shelf, and then down the bottom I just have some V.E. Schwab and some Erin A. Craig. I'm getting hungry though, so I think I'm gonna take a break and then come back because I just can't seem to figure this out. Like, I just can't seem to be happy with what I come up with, so I think if I take a break, step away for a bit, come back. I would love to have an Emily Henry shelf, but I think I have too many to fit on the one shelf, so I think she'll have to have a bigger shelf along with Jessa. Those will be my like two main author shelves when we get to the romance side of things. I don't know. I'm taking a break. I'm gonna have some lunch. It's almost exactly 12, so it's the perfect time to stop for a bit, I think. I have a coffee and I'm ready to continue and hopefully complete this organization. Now that I've had a bit of a chance to think about it, I do think I'm going to split up this shelf, but I also loved having my this Jellycat that Sarah and Des got me. I really liked having that next to my Emily Wilde book, so I've decided, I think, oh my gosh, he fell out. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna switch it up, and then I think I'm gonna remove maybe this. It's just not working for me. Okay, anyway, we're gonna move on to the romance side of things. I do think this is gonna be where I struggle potentially the most because, I don't know, romance books just feels a bit more intimidating. There's so many colors we're working with. I just feel like there's a lot more variety. I don't, like, there is variety in fantasy books. I don't know. In my head, it's harder. Like I mentioned, I'm definitely having a Jessa shelf. I'm definitely having an M Hen shelf. So I'm gonna start with that because that feels like it makes sense to me. I finished the romance shelf. Is it perfect? No, but I think it's as good as it's gonna get, and I do really like it. I think I've done the best with like what I can. I think something that really irks me in my own bookshelf is when I have different heights of books next to each other, but sometimes it is unavoidable. I love it, like on this shelf here, everything is the exact same height and it just looks so uniform and neat and really clean, but that's pretty much the only shelf where it has happened on the romance side of things. And that's okay, because sometimes I want to keep authors together, and especially with like, yeah, my Emily Henry shelf, we have some major height differences going on, and same with Jessa Hastings, but that's okay, that's okay. Now I'm moving on to our second last bookshelf. We have this one, and then we have the last one in the corner there, which I think will be honestly probably the easiest because it's just kind of like whatever's left we'll have to go over there. But this one is going to be my literary fiction, general fiction, historical fiction, stuff like that. Not romance, not fantasy, not mystery, not thriller, everything else. I think I want to do a classics shelf because we had that before and I really like that. And then I think I also want to do a Christian fiction shelf like I had before, but everything else, we'll see how it pans out. We've finished the fiction shelf. I actually have like quite a bit of space on this shelf, but I thought, hey, I'm obviously going to read more fiction books in the future, so it's probably better just to keep it as a gap. Maybe I'll just put a plant or something in there for the meantime. I actually don't know why I have space because I didn't have space when it was over there, but it's not a bad thing. I also have nothing to put up the very top, if you can see, so I'm gonna have a think about that because maybe I'll just keep it for romance overflow because this romance shelf is full to the brim, and I did put a little bit of overflow here and here. Maybe I'll move some of that over here. Maybe I'll just keep it open for when I do have more. I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet. I could also put a plant up there. I don't know. I am going to move on to that very last shelf over there, so that's where all of my thrillers and mysteries are going to go because that's all we have left. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see it because it really is like tucked in the corner there and it's a bit hard to get a good angle of it, but we're almost on the home stretch. We just need to finish that and then decorate a little bit with all of my little trinkets because I love a trinket. We're almost done. Also, I actually decided to go crazy. Never been seen before, never heard before, first in my generation. For my fiction shelf, I went alphabetical order in terms of authors' last names. I've never done alphabetical order in my own bookshelf. Liam has gone alphabetical in his, but I've personally not ever done that. But I just couldn't figure out how I wanted to do it because a lot of the authors that I have in fiction, I have varying heights within the the same author. Like I have 2 Kristen Hanna books and they're different heights. I have 2 Gabrielle Zevin books, completely different heights. All of my TJR are different heights, which is so frustrating, but also whatever. I decided to go alphabetical order and it looks a bit hodgepodge, but I kinda like it. So I'm gonna keep it that way for now. Like I said, crazy, no one's ever done alphabetical order before me. Never been seen before. Let's get this done. It is almost 3 p.m. I've been working on this since I think like 9 a.m. this morning, apart from my lunch break. So I'm ready to be done. I have officially completed the bookshelves and I'm so happy. I really like how it turned out. I'm sure I will change things here and there. I feel like after reorganizing bookshelves, you always have a bit of a period where you might just change a few things around, but for the most part, these are the shelves. So let me take you through it. So starting off over this side, we have the fantasy shelf, but I also have like sci-fi and dystopian over this side as well. You guys can see the vibes. We have, honestly, miscellaneous up the top, SJM shelf, Cassie Clare shelf. Then we have a little Lynette Noni section. We have some Lexi Ryan, miscellaneous again, Rebecca Ross, some hardcovers. Moving down again, obviously I do like to keep authors and series together as much as possible unless it just doesn't make sense. But here's what we have going down here. Also, I love these little gnome guys. They're so cute. I have so many gnomes all across my shelves, which you guys will see. More series, more miscellaneous, and then these are all tall hardbacks at the bottom here. Then over here we have V.E. Schwab and Erin A. Craig. I have a whole shelf dedicated to Brandon Sanderson, which is exciting, and hopefully this will continue to grow. We have my Emily Wilde shelf because these covers are just too beautiful not to display. And then we have my Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I decided to take the dust jackets off just for a little while. I'm sure I'll put them back on at some point, but I just love the naked hardcover of these ones so much. And yes, they are out of order, but that's because the Ballad of Never After is my favorite cover, so I wanted that one on display the most. But these are just so beautiful. I'm obsessed. Then we have my Magnolia Parks special editions. I do think I'll stand these up eventually, but I'm just giving them some time to lay flat because I just feel like they need to compress again. Do you guys know what I mean? Like when you stand a book up for too long, it kind of splays a bit, and I don't want that to happen. So right now they're just stacked. And then we have Boys of Tommen and then a bunch of sci-fi. Moving on to the romance side, we kind of have miscellaneous at the top, and then we have mostly small town romances here. Then we have Jessa Hastings. I decided to put my annotations on display, like flip these covers around, and I think they look so pretty. I never finished annotating my version of the first book because originally I read it on my Kindle, so upon a reread I need to annotate that, but the rest are annotated, of course. And I just thought, hey, we have a new edition, so we may as well display her, you know? Then we have Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez, 2 of my favorite authors. I am missing a few of my Abby Jimenez because I've lent them out, but that's okay. Then we just have some more various authors. I have some of my favorites towards this side. More romance books and more romance books. Down the bottom we just have Addicted Calloway, some Mia Sheridan and Ali Hazelwood, and some Sunny Angels kind of hiding there. At the bottom we have Christian fiction, which is just basically Francine Rivers and Ted Dekker. Then we move up to just like the general fiction section, which is, like I mentioned, in alphabetical order. And then we have classics up the top there. Then we have mostly Liam's books. I do have a few in there, but they're mostly Liam's. They're pretty much all non-fiction books of some kind. And then lastly over here we have some random romance books up the top, some more small town romance ones here, but they're all like indie published ones. I don't know, they just kind of overflowed into this section. And then we have my Jennifer Lynn Barnes books. We're obviously moving into like the thrillers / mystery section. So we have some more YA stuff, some more YA stuff with some more Bs. And then this is kind of a mix of YA and adult. They're just like taller paperbacks, and then down the bottom are more adult thrillers, because I don't really have too many of those. I don't really collect as many thrillers. I prefer mysteries over thrillers, and I prefer YA over adult because I get spooked easily and I'm sensitive. Anyway, and then we had this little gap in the corner here, and I realized that it perfectly fits just like normal little paperbacks. And I thought, hey, this could actually be cool if I like stack them, and eventually it'll be like stacked all the way up, and that will kind of fill in this gap a little bit, because I never knew what to put in this gap because it's too small to fit another bookshelf in this space, but like it looks awkward. So I thought, hey, this will actually look really cool eventually when there are books stacked all the way to the top, but I know that'll take a while. But I thought, hey, we can start. Most of these are either just books that didn't fit on their other shelf, or they're duplicates. Like I have multiple copies of Crescent City, so I put one of the sets here, and I also have so many copies of Emily Henry books, so I put one of the sets there as well. That's also an extra copy of Things We Never Got Over, because that one is the indie published one that I bought before it got like traditionally published in Australia, and so it's a different height to the other ones. But yeah, some of these are also just books that I read that I didn't love, and so they're kind of just shoved to the side. But yeah, eventually I thought that could be cool, but we'll see. But I'm gonna end off this video here because we are losing daylight and therefore losing our lighting. But I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me while I rearrange the bookshelves. I'm assuming we'll be back here at some point doing this all over again eventually. I just think it's so nice to refresh your space, even if you're not necessarily like going anywhere. You can always just refresh the space that you already have and make it feel brand new, you know? But I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.